Okay, well, here we are on another Wednesday. Dragon Age 2. And I'm sure it'll pop up. Oh, I clicked on the wrong thing. That's why it wasn't popping up. All right, I'm here with American Krogan. How's it going, Krogan?
It's gone. It's gone. How are you?
I'm all right. All right, what do I have to do here? Evelina. Okay, yeah. We're going to go into this nonsense.
Don't forget.
Are we good?
As soon as you're
Okay.
finished wrapping up your business, I'd wrap up any other business before we go. It's already a mess, and could get worse.
All right, let's go in here and do the thing.
I don't think
Let's
it can
go.
get any worse.
I request an audience with the Arashok.
He will allow it, but not in this number.
I will only bring my friend here and a small complement of my guard. Is that few enough?
It is. Enter.
Oh.
Janadon.
Oh, jeez.
Greetings, Arashok. We come regarding the elven fugitives that took refuge here.
Why is it so quiet?
The elves are now Vidithari.
Uh-oh.
They have chosen
Sounds normal to
submit
me.
to the Qun. They will be protected.
Oh, God. Tomato Way, how's it going? Nume, how's it going? So, again, what the situation is here, you know, you have the Qunari in town, and they've got, like, their way, and they're, like, about achieving things, and, you know, like, on some level, it's like, they represent, like, having strict rules in your society, and people have their role, and their job is to fulfill their role, versus the sort of more airy-fairy human, everyone can do anything, and, we're all the same, and this kind of stuff. So on some level, the Qunari are, I'd say, kind of more of a caricature of a right-wing worldview, right? On some level, my worldview, right? It's a caricature of that. But keep in mind, this is a place where the airy-fairy people created a town. This is Kirkwall. This is a human place, and now they're here, and they're screwing everything up. So the basic situation is people have joined them in the Qun, and now they're like a member of the Qun. Now they're like, they're in this organization, and there's real brotherhood in this organization. They'll protect each other. But part of the reason the people have been joining this Qun right now is because they're criminals, and they're fleeing the Kirkwall authorities. And what we saw in the last week's playthrough is that we had discovered someone had done something wrong. We were going to put them on trial, but then someone of the Qun just came up and murdered her because she had hurt people in her Qun. And I guess we couldn't do anything about it because they're like powerful enough at this point. We let them get this powerful.
Yeah, but they don't frame it that way at all. Like, they don't even frame that as a concern. It's just kind of like, from the player's perspective, it's like, I mean, again, I think a lot of people really underestimate how much psychological framing power developers and writers have over the audience. I mean, again, in that sequence, I would bet a lot of money that virtually nobody thought in the terms that you just outlined, even though they're completely valid.
Yeah, I doubt many people saw that. I would think when people saw the murder that we witnessed last Wednesday, likely what we saw, what most people would think is, oh, well, she was bad and she deserved it. And keep in mind, she was bad. I mean, she was a bad person.
Right.
Which is part of what brings their guard down, right?
You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of that Ami Horowitz video. Not that I like that guy, but he highlighted how all those BLM people were talking about how, like, oh yeah, Derek Chauvin should have been just street justice, should have been just dragged out of the courthouse, not given a trial, and just done away with. And it's like, okay, he might be guilty, but like, obviously there's this whole cohort of people who don't believe in due process.
Right. Yeah. So in this case, we have like this very like concentrated group of power in our town in the game that doesn't believe in our justice system and is going to actively undermine it. And that's like dangerous for the town. So even though...
Yeah, and that mentality gets passively reinforced into the player's mind.
Mm-hmm. So you have this outgroup here, basically, who's formed a parallel society and is willing to directly conflict with and undermine the order. So on some level, again, this kind of, like, the Qun and the Qunari can sometimes represent something more along my lines of thinking, on some ways. A society based around real goals and that kind of stuff.
It's interesting that so often in all forms of media, not just video games, that like these ideas of these outgroups forming parallel societies is totally fine, but just a whiff of our people going our own way and forming our own society just immediately gets the red carpet treatment of villainy, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, that's not a great way to phrase it, but it's just like certain parallel societies are entertained, others are not.
Yeah. So I'm just going to answer them. I'm going to say, hey, listen, they're criminals. I mean, these people have been joining your Qun, joining your way of life or whatever, but part of the reason they're doing that is to try and escape, like, criminal justice. Are you really going to protect them? Are you really going to make yourself an enemy of the criminal justice system? Are you going to try and make an enemy of the entire society that's been set up here?
Surely you know these elves are only here to escape justice.
Kirkwall justice.
Oh.
You have not hidden the abuses of your zealots or the corruption of this city. You will understand why I must do this. Let us look at your dangerous criminals.
Oh, they're going to have very sympathetic reasons for doing their crimes?
Who did you murder and why?
A
Probably.
city guard forced himself on our sister. We reported him, or tried to, but they did nothing about it, no matter what we said. So my brothers and I paid him a visit.
That doesn't excuse murder.
You know what? I shouldn't talk. Well, if you want me to not talk about this, I won't talk about it. But, well, what are we on? We're on Twitch, right?
Right.
Okay. Well, something similar happened to me as a child, and let me tell you, if I made the statement that elf just made about the person who did that to my family, like, it wouldn't be tolerated. That's all I'll say.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so in this case, it's what they're presenting is an elf who's supposed to represent on some level an oppressed minority who was victimized by a majority guardsman, this human guardsman, and so it's street justice is okay. So,
yeah, these games all have a way of contextualizing when street justice is fine and when it's not, and it seems, you know, I mean, if you look at the overall pattern across a whole bunch of games and a whole bunch of films and a whole bunch of media, there seems to be an emergent, consistent pattern.
mm-hmm. All right, we're not here to argue. This isn't, like, up for debate. You can't undermine the entire justice system of our society.
Sorry. Slot says it's so annoying finding your stream on DLive. They censored you off his following list. Like, are you censored on DLive or something? I mean, DLive's running for me.
Well, it means that he, like, got automatically unfollowed or something, right?
Yeah, I
We're
guess.
just here for the elves.
Their actions are mere symptoms. Your society is the disease. They have chosen. The Vidithari will submit to the Qun and find a path your way has denied them.
You can't just decide that. You must hand them over.
What a line.
Tell me, Hawk, what would you do in my place?
You know, it's so again, on some level, they maybe give the Qunari some legitimate criticisms of the society here. That being said, he's still an outsider come to wage war, functionally, on the society, to hurt what's happening here. I would leave the city if I were you.
Well, the
Clearly
elves.
don't like staying amongst humans.
I cannot leave without the relic, and I cannot stay and remain blind to this dysfunction. There is only one solution.
Arishok, there is no need for.
Vinekathas.
Yeah, I was gonna say that he's instigating. It's a human kingdom with non-human guests, and he's instigating trouble among the non-human guests. You know, like it may be. We might all agree that the guards doing X, Y, or Z to an elf is bad and violent, but there's a justice system for that or whatever, and ultimately the elves are guests there, and they can leave if they want.
Right.
Can you hear it? The Qunari must be spreading out. They're attacking the city. Why? What could they possibly hope to accomplish?
Well, and we don't know that the elves are necessarily suffering any worse injustice in the town than humans. I mean, if we have some amount of corruption in the guard, maybe that's just something we need to root out. Maybe that's just happening to everybody.
Sure. That's one way to look at it too, but something else that comes to mind immediately for me is Dubai. Like, how many of our women go to Dubai and then like they behave a certain way, and like we look at how their justice system reacts, and we keep and still Westerners keep going to Dubai, and it like don't go to Dubai. It doesn't make any sense to. Like, you can't behave there the way that you can in Western countries, and if you go there and you behave a certain way, or if you get violated. I mean, hell, straight up, if you get violated, you will not be treated as a victim in many cases. They have a completely different way of handling these things. So the smart thing to do would be for, in this case, elves not to be here, and for Westerners not to go to Dubai. Anyway.
Well, and Nume points out the elves might have lied. The system is in place to establish the facts, not just hearsay. And another way I think I'd say that is the system, like the justice system is both an information system and a justice system. First determine actual guilt and then dole out justice, right?
Right.
So if you circumvent the justice system, you're not just saying, well, street justice instead of, justice system. You're also the whole trial paradigm, the whole sort of evidence brought forth, people who are supposed to be at least somewhat impartial, getting access to that information and using their best judgment. Like, that's all good things. Those are all things that are like foundational to modern society. And when you see them being undermined, it's kind of a big deal.
Yeah, and they're supposed to be your peers, and that's the thing. If they're not your peers, then
you may be right.
That undermines the whole system as well.
Whatever it is,
right.
We need to do something quickly, but we'll need some help.
I mean, literally, how could an elf expect to get justice in a completely human city? I mean, so if you go there, like, again, if I go to Dubai or Saudi Arabia as a white Westerner, I should be willing to accept that I'm not going to get the same level of justice as a local. And if I'm not willing to accept that, then I shouldn't go there.
Yeah, thanks for the lemon, Russo.
We should head to the keep to rally my guardsmen. Whatever happens, be careful.
Alright, so how's the stream looking today? I changed some settings. Hopefully the frame rate looks better now? Hey, Dusty, how's it going? Dusty says, Ayo, what's up, dudes? What's going on here?
Frame rate looks fine to me.
No, the same as normal, better than normal.
I would just say, yeah, I mean, I never really had a problem, to be honest. I never thought it looked bad. Now I'm just looking on DLive.
Alright, where are my other two guys? Oh, I gotta kill this. This is, it appears the enemies have gotten much stronger. Two of my guys, like, died instantly at the start of the fight. And of course, Dragon Age's, system of everything spawning in waves means that even with the console command, things take forever. Boom. Let's see here. Dusty says the stream looks better than normal for him. Nume says, embargo, I wish you've played Anders' Quest. I mean, can I still do that after this, or am I screwed now?
You have our sincere thanks. This attack was most unexpected. We have not met. I am Stroud of the Grey Wardens. I cannot believe the Qunari would dare such an attack.
Looks
This
great
will
on
lead to
Twitch.
war with the Free Marches for certain. I fear pressing matters take us elsewhere, but we can spread word to the other free cities. Perhaps they will bring aid.
Sure. Go ahead. Spread the word about the Qunari attack.
Reinforcements would come in handy if we fail.
Even if we wish to, Grey Wardens cannot involve themselves in political struggles. I am sorry. Take this. It is all we can spare, but perhaps it will be of use.
Yeah, when I look at when you look at the dialogue he just spoke, it's like obvious that dialogue was actually a better fit for the other choice I had. So it's just one of those situations where it becomes extremely obvious that what I chose didn't matter. He was going to say the same response no matter what. Let's see here. Boom. Wrench says Middle Eastern countries. What is this? Well, in regards to the whole Middle Eastern and justice thing, you know, I'll say, like, I've worked highly technical work, and I've known people. So I've known both people who, let's say, work with highly technical equipment in the Middle East. There, you'll get a contract, and it'll say, fly out to Saudi Arabia or whatever, and they'll pay you to hook up a bunch of highly technical stuff. And at some point, what happens to a lot of these guys on these contracts is they just stop getting paid. And they're like, hey, you got to keep paying me. You know, you're 2 months behind on pay, right? And part of the reason they went out to the Middle East is because they were promised very good pay. And let's say they got paid for the first 4 months, and now they missed 2 months' pay. And they're basically told, screw off, you know. You finally finished what you were needed to get done. So they're only going to pay you, you know, 2/3 or half of what they initially promised. And if you, as, like, some white American, go to, like, the Saudi Arabian Labor Board, and the Labor Board hears that a Saudi man doesn't want to pay you, and you're some white American, they side with the Saudi man. The Labor Board will not help you. And there's a similar situation for China and pilots. Pilots will get hired to go to Chinese airlines, and if the Chinese airline sort of renegotiates the contract without telling you, well, the Chinese government's going to side with the airline.
This has been my experience down here in Latin America. Like, literally, when I brought my stuff into port, I was entitled to a duty-free importation of a container, and I knew the law, I knew the letter of the law, I knew the exact law, and literally a guy just basically told me, nope, some agent somewhere filled out paperwork a different way, and now you don't get your duty-free shipment. Give me money. That's all that happened. So I mean, like, it's just
now.
Yeah.
Did the money you gave go to the import authority, or did it go to the guy?
I don't actually have any way to figure that out.
Well, regardless, it was taken from you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, for all I know, he could get it. He could have gotten it. Because basically what he could have done is he could have made it... Because technically I presented the paperwork such that I should have gotten a Okay, so I had to present the amount of money for the duty as like a guarantee. And then once everything went through, I would get the money back. So probably what he did is he presented all the paperwork, got the money, and kept it.
Yeah.
Probably something like that happened. And just told me that I couldn't get it.
Harshera, quit your struggling, woman. Tetha! Boss! Then the Arishok failed to take you captive. Unfortunate.
Well, we stopped these Qunari from just dragging this woman off.
And, you know, to continue this whole conversation about the degradation of our current judiciary system, we're starting to see this happen more and more in the United States, especially at the elite levels. More and more we're seeing, like, legal precedent just doesn't matter. Laws don't matter. People just do what they want at the top.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's not a rule of law, right? The rule of the elite.
I am Knight Commander Meredith.
Did we just get saved by a badass woman?
We did.
Oh, good.
I know you. The name Hawk has turned up in my reports many times. Too many. It's good that we found you, Knight Commander. The Qunari are... It's obvious what they're doing. The Qunari are taking people to the keep, and may already be in control. We will need to deal with them.
All right.
I'll do whatever it
So now
takes
the
to
Qunari
defend
are
my
bad?
home.
Yeah. Good.
Your skills will be sorely needed.
Well, again, like, they're saying the Qunari are
Usually.
bad, but
But I will see
part of
if
the
I can find
Qunari
more of my
represents a more sort of
These
traditional
creatures will
society,
pay for
right?
this
So,
outrage.
complicated.
Remind me never to get on our bad side.
All right, let's see here. Tomato Way said, you play Disco Elysium? I have not played it, but I was looking at it for the next game after this.
They're probably... I haven't watched any Let's Plays of it or anything like that, and I haven't played it myself, but I would imagine there's a fair amount of text.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, you might want to consider that.
Yeah, I mean, I can read it to you guys. It's like a bedtime story. You know, I'll read it to you. I'll do some good voices, you know. Pick a different voice for each character. I'll give them funny accents. Not that I can do accents. I can't do it.
That was exciting.
Pale Hominid is exceptionally good at accents.
Oh, is he?
Very good at it. Oh, yes. He's very, very good.
Well, maybe I'll have to work with that.
They're all comedic accents. Like, they're not, like, super, super serious accents, but, like, they're very good for comedic effect.
Just someone standing here. Fighting in the streets, woman, get inside. Let's see here. Kill more of these guys. Sure, there'll be a few waves. That's how this game works. Maybe. Oh, yep, here they are. Wrench says the Qunari seem to be in a gray area, along with the human kingdom you're working with. Yeah, I mean, you know, the human kingdom clearly has problems, and maybe in some ways the Qunari have legitimate criticisms of the kingdom and all that. That being said, it clearly doesn't give them the right to overthrow your society and undermine the justice system and to...
No, of course it doesn't. I mean, and people
and to
who think
grab
that
your
are just
women by
silly.
the ankles and drag them through the streets, you know?
You don't seem as badly injured as the others.
The others? Surely they cannot all be. Gone. I told them to run.
First Enchanter Orsino, you survived.
Your relief overwhelms me, Knight Commander.
There is no time for talk. We must strike back before it's too late.
And who will lead us into this battle? You?
I will fight to defend this city as I have always done.
To control it, you mean? I won't have our lives tossed to the flames to feed your vanity.
Okay. All right. So I can tell them to stop arguing. I can tell both of these people that Meredith, the woman, should lead us. I can say that Orsino should lead us. I don't know either of these two people, and I can't really judge them, but I can say that I'll lead us. So that's what I'll do. Me, the very special gamer, will lead us.
I won't have you two at each other's throats. I'm in charge.
You're not even of this city.
Neither am I. Yet I don't hear you complaining about us both fighting to defend our home.
Oh.
But whatever you plan, be quick about it.
Tell us then. What is our
That's
course of
interesting.
action?
So she's saying, well, you're both foreigners. And then he says, yeah, but this is our home. You know, we live here. Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, he says, what's
Yeah,
our
you know
course
what?
of action? I can say we need to be careful, which isn't a course of action. I can say not get killed, which is a joke. Or I can say let's go to the keep, which is a course of action. So only one of my 3 dialogues actually suggests a course of action. So I guess I'll say let's go to the keep.
We need to find out why they're gathering
That's mean.
hostages.
Yeah, it's,
An excellent choice. Let's move quickly.
An excellent choice. The only choice you had.
well, it was supposed to be like the more mean option. And she liked it because she's mean or something. I don't know. God, these games. Well, and Tomato Way is pointing out that even though she's supposed to be mean and she accused us of being foreigners, and of course she's blonde hair, blue eyed, right?
Yeah, it would be interesting if I had the time and patience and ability
There seem be
to
a great
tally
many
up
Qunari at the keep's entrance.
Then they've already taken it over.
all the instances
Clearly they've been
of
planning
various
this for
tropes
some time.
in a game like
I don't
this,
see any of my guardsmen.
and then
This is
do
the
some kind of
only way in.
calculation.
We must assault them now before their numbers grow.
Are you mad? They have hostages. We need a distraction.
Decide quickly. We have no time.
I don't know how the distraction is going to help exactly. So she wants to attack. He says, we can't attack because they have hostages. We need a distraction. Okay. What's the distraction going to do? Exactly. I mean, how is a distraction going to help us? Who are we distracting? Whatever. Let's just say we need a distraction and see what they actually do.
A direct assault is too risky.
We'll need to get you inside and catch up as soon as we can.
And just how will we do this?
Have confidence, Knight Commander.
So, we do know that our blonde-haired, blue-eyed lady is very rash and somewhat unreasonable, and our outsider elf is much more
Not conquer this city without a fight.
sort of reasonable. Oh. Maybe a direct assault would have worked better than we thought. Alright, you sneak in the side door while I do this. Is his distraction just martyrdom, or is he gonna run?
I mean, you all could run.
Yeah, I don't know
This
why we're
point,
walking
instead of
those so nonchalantly.
Maybe because you don't care about the elf. Maybe because you're a wasteist. Maybe because elf lives don't matter.
I mean, he says, hey, Gaming Embargo, you want a great hidden gem without propaganda or minimum propaganda? Discworld Noir. Yeah, I've never...
Discworld Noir?
Yeah, it's a 1999 game. I've never heard of it. I don't know about that. And also on Wednesday, it's, you know, we don't do stuff where it is, like, zero propaganda, right? Well, we can come up, take a look at the Viscount's office. Oh, Door's closed. Never mind. Can't use it. All right. What's going on here? We gotta take back our town. Lots of dead people. Dead people, but alive Qunari.
Mass Effect.
Oh, there's the Viscount's head.
You dare? You are starting a war!
Oh, snap. Literally.
Like fat doth Russie, you feed and complain only when your meal is interrupted. You do not look up. You do not see that the grass is bare. All you leave in your wake is misery. You are blind. I will make you see. But we have guests.
You guys were once guests.
Sinead Dawn, Hawk. I expected you. But for all your might, you are no different from these bars. You do not see.
Well, you've gone too far.
This madness must end.
Perhaps. Prove yourself, Basra, or kneel with your brethren.
All right, and boom. There we go. That was good.
You are Basilit An, after all. Few in this city command such respect. So tell me, Hawk, you know I cannot withdraw. How would you resolve this conflict?
I'd kill you all.
I can say we can work this out. I can say, can't we be friends? Jokingly. Or I can say, on the battlefield. Again, I'd like to put him on trial. Right?
Yeah.
But I guess I'll say battlefield. Because I don't know, like, battlefield, is my character going to suggest that, like, oh, we'll come to blow at some point in the future? No, he should die now or go on trial.
Well, I would say that this has gone beyond a trial. This is, like, open combat in the city. Like,
yeah, we could just kill him right now. That'd be good.
Yeah.
There's only one way this ends.
I agree. Atash Varin Kata. In the end lies glory.
And ready for this? Hiya!
We shall return.
Cut his hand off. Oh. That was an interesting angle to move the sword at. Tomato Way says, you're a very skilled gamer. Oh, I thank you for noticing.
You're too kind. You're too kind.
But it's very correct.
Is it over?
Is it over?
It's
Yes,
over.
it's over.
The city has been saved!
You're welcome. No problem. Uh-oh.
Is she mad?
Are we going to be Viscount now? No?
It appears Kirkwall has a new champion.
Booyah. New champion. Champion of Kirkwall.
You seem confused, Seeker.
It just seems so unbelievable. I would have assumed the stories were exaggerated.
If I didn't know better, I'd say you're developing a little crush.
Uh-oh.
Don't be ridiculous.
Got a crush on
the
me.
champion just seems very heroic in your tale.
Mm-hmm.
If you're telling the truth. If you are, then what happened at the gallows may be far different than we assumed. I need to hear it.
Let's say I tell you. Then what? Is the Chantry out for revenge? Is that what this is all about?
No, it's not that.
Then what about me? If what I tell you isn't what you want to hear, will you still let me go?
I will let you go.
Well, now we're talking.
None of this is what I thought it would be. Tell me what really happened.
Champion of Kirkwall. That was the reward. A fine title. Every noble at the keep owed the champion their lives. He wasn't just a hero. He was now the most important person in the city. Except for Knight Commander Meredith, of course. With the Viscount dead, she stepped in to keep order. Things quickly got out of hand. The more she squeezed the mages, the more they resisted. The more they resisted, the tighter she squeezed. After 3 years of that, it all came crashing down.
And just to reflect on what we did with the Qunari a second ago. Ah, damn it.
Fear us. Knight Commander Meredith uses that fear to take control of your city. She opposes every effort to replace Viscount Dumar. And you have seen the chaos of her reign. Will you allow it?
Why are they listening to this guy?
Well, he did help save the city, I guess, 3 years ago.
Wait! Perhaps there are some who might disagree with you, Knight Commander.
Do not hide behind the champion. He has no role in this.
I can say... What? Okay. I can say maybe I could help. I could say I like a good debate, jokingly. Or I could say I can think for myself. She's not suggesting I can't. She's suggesting that I don't have a role in this. But to reflect on what we just did with the Qunari, you know, again, when you look at his speech does maybe remind you of something that maybe I would say on some level, right? At least a little bit. You know, he said, oh, you feed and you only care when, you know, your meal gets interrupted. Well, he's saying, like, listen, your lives have somewhat become aimless. You're focused on consumption, right? You're identifying your life with what you consume. This is a modern malady that happens in our real lives, not in the game. And you should maybe be living a life where you have a role and a goal and it has purpose and you're driving forward. And like that sort of like criticism of sort of hedonistic consumption is common in the right. You know, if you look on Twitter and stuff, you'll see like consumer, I'm consuming, you'll see a lot of that sort of criticism of our people. So on some level, like, we had to fight, like, the right-winger on some level, right?
Yeah, it's weird.
But
it's
on
weird.
the other
You see
level,
it's
an outsider ethnic group destroying our society.
You get the worst of both situations. Like, I mean, like, this is getting stacked and overlapped in the worst way possible. Like, you're not getting the best out of any of this.
Yeah, well, it's kind of weird that, you know, you have this organization like BioWare making a game like this, and they're like, well, you know, they're going to give this outsider group that's like on some level undermining your society more right-wing talking points. But surprisingly, it is sort of weird that they chose an outsider ethnic group
Yeah, it is.
to undermine your society.
Well, ultimately, not that they intended this, but what seems to be happening over time is that we Westerners are being portrayed as the outsider.
Yeah.
And you see this with, like, especially in the U.S., you're seeing this all across Europe, but particularly in the U.S., you're seeing, like, the Justice Department going after, like, oh, the biggest... Well, we were going over that CSIS report the other day, and they were talking about the biggest threat to the quote-unquote homeland is quote-unquote white supremacists and, separatists or nationalists, you know, like... That's very odd. You see, and again, I am not saying that we are white supremacists. I totally reject that term. But they use that term interchangeably with any other possible term you could conceive of for labeling us. But nevertheless, no matter what term they're using, they are using terms in order to make the ethnic stock, the founding stock, our people, the outsider. So.
Mm-hmm. Nume says he wouldn't compare this to the modern paradigm. Well, I think you always have to, because gamers will, right? Like, I think the messaging people receive always gets compared to the modern paradigm. But Nume says it's more like the Roman Empire at its deathbed being invaded by the noble savages. Yeah. I'm just going to do the joking option for this.
Sounds like you two have quite the little argument going.
This is not an argument. It's treason.
I think the champion's views would be appreciated. Or do you fear what he has to say?
Yeah, I don't think I'd view the Qunari as the Germanic barbarians.
My only interest here is in keeping order and protecting the innocent.
What are you trying to do here? Cause a rebellion?
The people of this city need to know what is really happening.
And then what? They tear down the gallows with pitchforks and torches? That would be better?
It cannot be worse. Your refusal to listen to reason leaves me no choice.
What I refuse to listen to are excuses. Perhaps you are ill-fit to your position if you cannot understand this.
I mean, they might have been going for that. I mean, it makes sense in a certain way, but I just think it was poorly executed. If that's what they were going for.
I don't, so I was offered an investigate option before, but I guess I don't have an investigate anymore. But, so, like, I can't investigate the problem, and I don't fully understand the problem. So, what, he's a mage, and she's being too mean to mages? That's what this is about? Alright.
Threatening each other isn't going to help matters.
And what should I do instead? Allow this to continue?
Oh, I guess I can investigate again. Meredith, answer his charges.
The first enchanter accused you of trying to take control of the city.
The city? I am trying to keep order until there is a ruler capable of succeeding where Dumar failed.
And if not, will the Templars rule Kirkwall forever?
We will not stand idle while the city burns around us.
The Templar Order exists to guard the Chantry and Circle. I suggest you let the nobility rule the city.
I do not need you or anyone to tell me what my duty is, mage.
Okay. Oh god. This is so goofy. I can say Meredith needs to step down. I can say I will rule. Or I can say let the city decide. Okay, I'm the gamer. I'm gonna rule this city.
I will step in. I certainly can't do any worse.
That is not going to happen.
Do you see? She is incapable of reason.
Why is it so reasonable for this guy to rule?
I don't know.
Like, you know, like, why is that, like, so much less... I don't know.
Do the Templars go too far?
Your measures have become more extreme over the last 3 years.
And you could do better? How well did you guard your own mother?
Wow.
Did she not die at a blood mage's hands?
I mean, his whole family's dead at this point.
Yeah. I mean...
She's kind of got a point.
Does she?
I think so.
I don't think so.
Okay.
I wouldn't be good in this, I wouldn't be good in this official capacity because my mother was murdered while I was out doing things for the city. I don't know. I'm gonna say, how dare you?
Leave my mother out of this.
Cold corpses speak louder than abstract freedoms, do they not? As long as that's true, Kirkwall needs its Templars more than it needs a new ruler.
And when will that end? When will you stop seeing evil in every corner?
When it's no longer there.
Okay.
How much time is supposedly passed? Because I mean, it's to me it doesn't
3
seem
years.
like. Okay, yeah, I mean, that doesn't seem like all that long of a time. considering everything that's happened. So I feel like the little elf is being a little impatient.
Impatient about what?
About the wanting the Templars to step down. And to me, it just also, like, you would think that there would be some kind of, like, procedure, like some kind of line of succession or some kind of procedure whereby, and like there seems to be nothing. Like, in the entire existence of this kingdom, which I assume goes back hundreds upon hundreds of years, you know, nothing similar has happened whereby they decided, well, if the king dies or this happens or that happens, we need to have this line of succession, or we need to have, you know, this tribunal come together and decide this or that. Like it's just completely, there's nothing.
Yeah. Well, and you would think if whatever the line of secession is, there would be no way for me to inject myself into it. I'm gonna say, you know, I can say she's right or he's right, but I'm gonna say no, neither of you is right. I'm the gamer.
Maybe you two should wrestle, because there's no other way to resolve this.
You are naive, champion.
You will find that not everyone bows to your will, Knight Commander.
Okay. Oh.
My. Such a terrible commotion.
This mage incites rebellion, Your Grace. I am dealing with the matter.
Ah, Orsino. So frustrated. Do you think this is truly wise?
No, Your Grace.
Of course not. Young men, would you show the first enchanter back to the circle? Gently, if you please.
Your Grace. He should be clapped in irons, made an example of.
That's enough, Meredith. This demeans us all. Surely you can see that. Go back to the gallows and calm down, like a good girl.
Wow. So anyone who doesn't know, this is the revered mother or whatever of the town. Again, the chantry represents basically Catholicism in this world. So she says, thanks for stepping in. I can say, can't you do something? I guess I think she just kind of did, right? I can say, I doubt I changed much. And I can say, this will get worse. I guess I'll say, this will get worse.
I doubt sending them back to the gallows will end this.
Sadly true. Gentle people of Kirkwall, return to your homes, I implore you. This will not be solved today. And now I must attend to the gallows. They will see reason if the Maker wills it. Thank you again, champion.
Well, it's interesting. So she's, you know, again, the revered mother represents sort of Catholicism, Christianity more generally, sort of Western religious tradition. And while her organization has been shown to be one that's like very corrupt and very mean and bad things are happening through it, she is genuinely in a positive light. It would almost be like if someone basically said, like, it would be like if the writers thought the Pope was a pretty cool guy, but most of Catholicism itself was like corrupt and bad, and you know.
Yeah, you've kind of seen that recently with the recent Pope. Oh, look how progressive he is about all this and that, you know. But you still, meanwhile, have all this anti-Catholic rhetoric and banter going on.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna go to sleep.
What's this? Ah, Anders' manifesto again.
Anders' manifesto?
What's this?
Why is it at my bed?
Anders' manifesto.
Did he leave his manifesto at my bed?
It's kind of weird.
Yeah, he's like, I wrote this book. Please read it. I left it at your bed. Okay.
How did he get in there?
I don't know. Probably the same reason my mother's dead. People just come in my house whenever they want.
Maybe you need big walls with electric fences and broken shards of glass atop.
I heard walls don't work though.
Why are you still here, Varric?
I just heard they're racist.
The merchants guild has their fingers
They
in
do
all
work.
these pies.
Just mean.
Well, not the actual pies. They're
Tomato
as
Way
far as I know.
says matriarch number 1.
Drinks for the guards.
You mean the blonde hair, blue eyed mean lady, or the revered mother or whatever?
I was going to say something about being fond of that house, but who am I kidding? It makes
Nume says if you have the old one. Oh, you like the revered mother. Nume says if you have the dog DLC. He says there are paw prints on the bed. Okay. Well, Tomato Way says he likes both. Okay. Maybe you just like old ladies in general, Tomato.
Yeah, maybe you're weird.
Gamlin, uncle?
So you've done well for yourself.
Yes, I have.
I had my doubts the first time I saw you, but I guess there was something to that hawk fellow Leandra ran off with after all. You made a pretty good son anyway. Your mother would be proud.
So, I mean, you might look at what he said there and say he could have said it more endearingly, but, you know, because he's like, well, when I first saw you, you didn't seem like much. But, I mean, he's saying we're a good man, our mother would be proud, and he's saying on some level, like, your father must have been good because you've turned out good, right? So he's praising you and your family. I can respond with, I miss mother. I can respond with, I didn't know you cared. Or I can respond with, I don't trust you. And I suspect there's a decent number of people who picked I don't trust you. Because again, the story was very interesting that they portrayed him as sort of a mean, bad guy. And he's done... Well, he's kind of a goof up in some way. He's done good things for me and my family. Like, he's my uncle. He's just a good guy. So I don't know why they've portrayed him in such a bad way to make the player not like him, to make the player even potentially hate him. I'm just going to say I miss Mother, I guess.
I just wish Mother had lived to see me become champion.
I know, Leandra, and she'd be absolutely glowing from all the praise that's been heaped on you. I don't say this often, but we're the only family we've both got left.
We are.
For a long time, I thought the Emil line in Kirkwall would end at me. I'm glad you've pulled it out of the grave.
So, he's...
Decent moment.
Yeah. And keep in mind, like, so this is his sort of house in the slum of Lowtown, and we live in a mansion. Like, we haven't invited him, and he's not asking.
Single-handedly saved the city from the heathens, huh?
Yeah, so... Well, and here he's saying, you single-handedly saved the city from the heathens. I think that's supposed to make him look bad or whatever. Using a term like heathen.
There's a story behind
right?
everything, Daisy.
You know what I mean?
I can.
First enchanter... Oh, I gotta look at a letter in my house.
Why not?
There was a girl, and I made a promise. Bianca is the only story I can never tell.
You can't say that. Now I want to know even more.
Alright, let's go look for the letter that I need so we can progress the storyline.
This is such a weird... Like, this has to be one of the games with the weirdest disjointed narrative that I've ever encountered.
I didn't expect
Weirder than Control?
Things. Everything affects everything.
Well,
we were born, a bunch of things happened.
I don't think
and now
that
we're
attempts
messed with
to
our
make
friends.
sense.
Yeah.
Seems too simple.
In the same way that this kind of does.
Yeah.
Like, as far as I remember, there really isn't a real narrative in that game. It's just jarble, and I think it's intended to be jarble. Like, this is supposed to be a narrative. It's supposed to be like, you know, A, B, C, D, E, F, you know, like, and Control, mechanically, you could argue there's a sequence, but I don't remember there. I mean, maybe I'm forgetting it. Maybe I need to go look it up. It did not seem like there was. Let me look it up.
Knight Commander Meredith at the Temple Hall in the Gallows. Okay, that's where I gotta go. Well, how about, I mean, the Outer Worlds is pretty bad, too. I mean, that didn't make much sense. Tomato Way says, if the author tells you what to feel, the author fails.
I'm thinking of switching to romances.
Yeah, some level for sure. I mean, they should just be able to present a thing that leads to a feeling.
How many people didn't make it out of here? We were lucky.
Into the Temple Hall. Where's our blonde-haired, blue-eyed, mean lady? Gonna tell us she's gonna try and recruit us to her side, maybe? Get us to support the Templars?
Welcome.
I can say, can I help? I can jokingly say, nice to see you. Or I can say, what do you want, in a mean way. I'll say, can I help?
What is this urgent matter you spoke of?
There was an incident within the gallows. A number of phylacteries were destroyed, and several mages took the opportunity to escape.
Uh-oh.
We've recovered most of the fugitives. However, I require your assistance in tracking down the last 3.
How'd these phylacteries get destroyed?
How did the phylacteries get destroyed?
Oh.
An insurrection. Several of my own Templars orchestrated the escape, presumably out of sympathy for the mages. They turned their backs on their duty and endangered their charges, as well as the city. Thankfully, most who escaped fled to their families and offered no resistance. The last 3 are proving more difficult.
Okay. I can say, you want my help, question mark? Can't the Templars do it, or I'm no ally of yours? Like, I guess that means, like, the mages should be able to go free or whatever. Slots is bragging in the comments. What? Slots is bragging about his meal of ribeye and ribeye steak cooked in ghee, which is a Hindu word for, like, clarified butter. I'll say, you want my help, I guess.
I'm surprised you would turn to me. We haven't always seen eye to eye.
I have asked you to track these fugitives so you might see for yourself what we Templars deal with every day.
Oh, so you don't need my help.
If you still
Why don't you
think
do
it's
it then?
worth our mercy, tell me then.
I'll go along with it. I'll try my best.
I'll see what I can do.
I am relieved. I was expecting resistance after that debacle at the market. Talk to these mages' families. Learn where they are hiding and find them before they do harm.
All right.
You will see that imprisonment or death is sometimes the only kindness we can offer. Speak to my assistant, Elsa. She can tell you whatever you need to know about the fugitives. I bid you good day, champion.
Good day. All right, Elsa. Let's hear it.
Good day, champion of Kirkwall. Knight Commander Meredith has informed me that you will be tracking down the apostates on behalf of the Templars. There are 3 of them. Huon, Emil, and Evelina.
Oh, she's tranquil?
Why does Meredith have a tranquil assistant?
The Knight Commander believes tranquil mages to be efficient and single-minded. I, in particular, am extremely organized.
Oh. Is there blood magic involved in this?
Are the apostates blood mages?
The Knight Commander suspects this, yes.
But she does not know for certain.
The Knight Commander tends to assume all apostates practice blood magic. She prefers to err on the side of caution.
Oh, so she's judgmental and mean? Oh, well. Let's see. Tell me about Huon.
I want to hear about Huon.
Huon is an elf. He was apprehended in the alienage 10 years ago. His wife, Nisa, works for a dressmaker in Lowtown.
What does Nisa know?
Have the Templars spoken to her?
Yes. Nisa insists she has not seen Huon since he joined the Circle.
Emil?
Tell me what you know about Emil.
The second apostate is Emil de Lancey, 5th son of the Comte de Lancey.
Out of Hightown. Some of our more vocal and delicate nobility. They are home in the evenings authoring complaints.
Authoring complaints. They're bothering our poor captain of the guard. Have they been questioned?
What have they said to the Templars?
The Comte and Comtesse say they have not seen Emil since he was a child.
Evelina?
What do you know about Evelina?
Evelina was trained for 8 years in the Circle in Ferelden. She was last seen in her former residence among the refugee community in Darktown.
Oh, she's a Fereldener, like my character. Am I going to appeal to our sort of common heritage as outsiders to get her to come in? Possibly. That might be coming up. Ferelden?
How did she come to be in Kirkwall?
You skipped the
Evelina
Blight.
claims to have fled the Blight, not the Circle. She presented herself to the first enchanter on her arrival and asked to take her place here.
It doesn't sound like a fugitive. Anything else?
Our files indicate she petitioned Meredith for financial support of numerous other pre-adolescent Blight survivors.
Okay.
I have all the information I require for now.
Good luck on your search, Champion of Kirkwall.
Well, let's go find these mages. It is interesting in this game, the mage versus chantry / Templar thing. Again, they continue to portray the chantry, the Templars, as unreasonable. The sort of stand-in for Catholicism.
Evelina, you'll be the guard I let
Mean
catch me.
Catholics, mean Christians, very mean.
Decide to get...
Let's see here, Lowtown. Tomato Way says he watched 11 hours EFAP review about Falcon and Winter Soldier TV series. His short review is it's all bad quality and propaganda.
What's the game? Or
Falcon and Winter Soldier TV series.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I've never heard of it, but I haven't watched TV. I haven't owned a TV since 2007. Oh, it's a Disney show.
We're here about Huon, Misa.
Oh, good thing I brought the elf.
When the Templars came, I told them the truth. I hadn't seen Huon in 10 years.
Oh, but he's here now.
But after they left, he came to me. He wanted me to hide him.
Okay.
I used to dream of him returning, but not like this. He's changed, and I don't know him anymore. I sent him away.
Oh, she sent him away. Okay.
You know, some of these elves have, like, if you get rid of their ears, they have, like, an exaggerated, like, a particular... I mean, there are a lot of Anglo-Saxon phenotypes, but they have a particular Anglo-Saxon phenotype that's exaggerated, I would say, if you got rid of their ears. Obviously, Anglo-Saxons, there's no phenotype with ears like that, but... And it's not our companion, it's the girl, the elf we're talking to.
Yeah.
How has Huon changed?
He was obsessed with showing everyone true elven power. He frightened me.
True elven power. Blood magic?
Did you see him use any magic? Perhaps blood magic?
Would she know it to see it?
You might.
I don't know. I don't think he used magic on me.
Okay. Are you alright?
Did he hurt you?
Only broke my heart.
So Slot says he's owned a TV for... Well, he hasn't owned a TV for 3 more years than I haven't. Nume says, elves look Anglo? Seriously?
There are, within any ethnic group, there are a variety of phenotypes, and there are a couple particular phenotypes within the Anglo-Saxon sphere that I believe bear some resemblance to this elf in front of us and some other elves, albeit greatly exaggerated, and obviously absent the ears.
Do you know where Huon went after you sent him away?
I don't know. He disappeared. But Huon said he would return to take me away from this forever.
A user, just looking for another handout.
I don't know what he means, and I am afraid of him, Monsieur.
Okay. Yeah, I'll protect you.
Would it help if I returned? I'll make sure you're safe.
I would be grateful. Huon said he would come to the alienage soon, at nightfall. Are you going to arrest him? I think he needs help.
Yeah, like...
Maybe the Circle will be able to heal whatever troubles him.
Some Anglos have, like, a particular nose bridge, and they have an elongated face. Again, this isn't all Anglo-Saxons, but some of them do. And, yeah.
Alright, I'm gonna see if I can use my uncle's house to come back at night. Slot says Raymond Foster has elfish ears.
I don't know.
How are you at finales, Varric?
I'm expecting
I don't
some
know.
practical experience fairly soon.
Alright, apparently I have to walk all the way. There's no way for me to, like, change day to night here. I have to walk to the edge of town and then come back in. Night. Alright. Now we gotta go back through the town. But it's okay, because I have my thing. Kill instantly.
Give it back. I want my doublets.
I don't care.
The sounds coming from inside are always so cheerful, but I never know what to do in there.
Alright, I'm interested to see how this plays out. Dominated fighter? Oh. So they've been charmed by a wizard, by a mage.
You know, I'm gonna look up something.
Huon.
That's Huon? Looks like he's got the tattoo of that one cast in Orzammar in the last game.
Hush, love.
So he's
Don't be afraid.
used some sort of magic to take over her.
Life to our people.
What?
Okay, that guy definitely does not have any kind of Anglo-Saxon phenotype. Just to be clear, I'm not saying that guy looks like an Anglo.
How could you do this?
She was your wife.
Her sacrifice will lead me to my destiny. The humans keep us down because they're afraid of the magic within us.
The humans keep us down.
The magic Nisa held inside her. She was just afraid to use it.
Alright, Blood Mage. Prepare to fight the console command.
Dun, dun, dun.
Got him! Oh, and I can loot him right now. Bell poison. Nah, it's inventory full. I don't really care.
Man trust they guide you.
Nume says they look like Nosferatu from Vampire the Masquerade. Yeah, he kind of had a sort of Nosferatu look about him.
Yeah, I agree with that. You know, I always thought Laura Loomer looked like the witch from Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs.
Yeah?
Yeah. Just, you know, with black hair instead.
I have to look. Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. How about the witch from Wizard of Oz? You shouldn't be making fun of people like this, though.
Well, I mean that's you know that's your opinion. Maybe I like those noses. You know. Maybe I
didn't even
that's
say
a mark of
noses.
beauty. You know?
All right, let's go see. So, like, we went to the Elven Alienage. Some crazy elf said that, and I guess on some level you're supposed to feel conflicted. You know, like, oh well, you know, the humans oppressed the elves, but I had to take out this elf. You know. And I feel like this whole
I
story is probably one where they're trying to create sort of conflicted feeling in the character, where you're supposed to not like the commander of the Templars. You're supposed to feel that like mages are oppressed. But I think in this case they're probably going to show you at least 2 of the 3, if not all 3, where the mages really are like doing bad things.
I think that's enough of that.
I'm just gonna keep talking about noses.
Why? Okay.
Well, I was gonna say that. Well, I guess I won't say it. I guess I'll end the discussion.
Jacob says there was someone who actually looks very elvish. Everyone was calling him Legolas on No White Guilt stream. Oh. Oh my... What's happening here?
Good evening, Comtesse.
Oh, the champion of Kirkwall. This is marvelous. You honor this household. I will call for refreshments. Talia?
Uh-oh.
Oh, she is so slow, this girl. Come, let us chat while we wait.
Thank you for being so nice.
Thank you for your hospitality, Comtesse. I need to speak to you about Emil.
Hospitality? This? Oh,
Hospitality?
it is a disgrace. If you had just sent a message to say you were coming. I haven't seen Emil since he was taken to the Circle. He was just 6. You can tell the Templars not to worry. I am sure Emil will turn himself in soon. He is a good boy.
Dulcie, what have you done? You should have told the boy to throw himself at the mercy of the Templars.
Guillaume, darling.
Don't darling me, Dulcie. He's been
Guillaume.
telling people he's our son, that you gave him gold.
Guillaume, darling, we have guests.
Hello. It's me, the champion of Kirkwall.
I am your son's best chance for mercy from the Templars.
Mercy. They wouldn't really hurt him, would they? Oh, you should have seen his face. It just broke my heart. I gave him some money. Not too much. He said he wanted to start a new life.
Oh my god.
New life? His new life is spent in low-town taverns, getting drunk on cheap wine. It's a wonder the Templars haven't found him yet. Help us, please, champion. Emil is not a blood mage, just a foolish boy. Don't let the Templars kill him.
Blood mage? Oh, Guillaume, don't say that.
Please, save my son's life.
I will do what I can.
If there is a way to help Emil, I will find it.
Thank you, champion. An acquaintance spied Emil in the Hanged Man not long ago. He should still be there.
The Hanged Man? Oh, but that place is filthy.
Come, Dulcie. Perhaps you should lie down.
I love this like just completely over the top French woman accent.
So filthy.
Or lesions.
And they even go or lesions afterwards. I mean, clearly this is a jab at the French.
It's so weird. But I mean, on some level, like, that's a fairly... Oh my god, apostate mages. What are they doing?
That was exciting.
Now they're dead. Why did they have to do all this? So, on some level, it's kind of interesting, you know, so they have, like, the mother who took extra pity on the son fleeing from crime on some level, right? Gave him money, and the father who, like, was sort of, like, less emotionally invested in it, and, like, all right, the son should turn himself in. All right, there's Emil. Why is there a Qunari here? Qunari, what are you doing?
You look familiar, Qunari.
Talvashov, once of the Wounded Coast. I had left my fellows. You convinced me to turn on them. It was long ago.
You did?
I guess. I don't remember it.
Yeah, I don't remember that either.
That was a long time ago. Okay. Well, goodbye.
Bye.
Emil, I see you're drinking, just as your father thought you would be. Nice haircut, Emil. Wow, look at that.
This guy definitely has some style, and I think because of that, we should take that into consideration.
Yeah, this guy deserves to live. I mean, his mustache isn't coming in very much. I mean, he's really got to grow that out.
But he's working on it.
He's working on
He's
it.
clearly making an attempt. And
There's progress.
That warrants, yes, and that warrants your mercy and consideration.
Yeah, we're going to have to keep this in mind. He's really drunk.
Emil de Lancey?
He just passed out immediately.
Hey, how'd you know my name? Did Nella tell you?
Who's Nella?
I gave her my Lancey signet ring in exchange for a kiss. And tonight, she's going to make me a man.
Oh my god.
The Comte was right.
The
Templars miss him.
This man-child has evaded the Templars. Crime of the century.
Round of drinks on me. I'm Emil, as you know. And you are?
Well, I'm Hawk.
They call me the champion of Kirkwall. I've been looking for you, Emil.
Oh, buggery. I know what this is about. I'm not a blood mage, all right? I started that rumor because I thought it would make me sound dangerous and suave.
Isn't it more likely to cause a panic and bring the Templars after you?
I've only told people in the tavern. And only women.
And only women.
You don't understand. I've been in the circle since I was 6. 6! For 20 years I was locked up. I never had a real drink or cooked something for myself.
You can't cook?
Never stood in the rain or kissed a girl.
There are girls in the circle.
I just wanted to live a little. If you are going to kill me, do it. I'd rather die drunk.
I can say, is this real? I'm just going to say, turn yourself in. You don't need to die, kid. And there are girls in the circle. Would none of them kiss you? Is that the problem?
You can't run. The Templars will find you eventually.
I'll make you a deal, all right? Give me one night. Just one night. One of the tavern girls, Nella, agreed to lie with me. I even paid for a room. Please, let me have this. You can take me back in chains after.
Okay, interesting. So, well, you know, on some level, she's probably not going to lay with you, because you already gave her the signet ring. Probably should have waited until after the, coitus, but, well, so it's like one of these situations where it's sympathetic. You want to say, like, all right, I'll bring you in the morning or whatever. But, like, is he going to... Is he
lying? I mean, does that... Can we go verify this with this chick over there? Can we, like, not go right up to her and be like, hey, are you actually going to sleep with
I don't
this
think
guy
we
or
can do
whatever?
that.
I mean, right, that's what I'm saying. I mean...
I can say, it's a deal. I can say, chains, huh? I can say, don't try and escape. So these three are like, okay, you can have the night with Nella. Or I can say, that's not a good idea, and proceed down some other path. Should I let this guy with the sweet haircut have one last night with a tavern wench?
With the hot blonde tavern wench. No, she looked kind of hot. I mean, I am watching at like 480.
I wasn't paying attention. I don't know what she looks like.
I got beer goggles on for all intents and purposes.
Well, so does he, so it's appropriate. I'm gonna say, don't try to escape. Just whatever.
If I see you trying to crawl out of a window, you're going to be very, very sorry.
I won't.
All right. Well, there they go. Will she be murdered and used for blood magic? Oh, he's back.
Well?
I'm a man now. Yeah.
I'm not going to tell you about it.
Oh, why not? But we're brothers.
That was utterly worth it. Back to the Templars.
Yeah. All right.
All right. Straightforward. All right.
My problem solved. Excellent. We should let that tavern wench know that she might be pregnant with a mage. Or we should tell the Templars, like, watch Nella in 9 months. Okay, Walter. Who are you?
It sounded like he really wasn't a mage.
I mean, he was definitely a mage.
He definitely was. We're sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, yeah.
Sounded like he was lying about it all.
No, I think he was a mage. Walter, little boy, I'm looking for someone. Have you seen this person? Oh.
We got nothing here you'd want. Get back to Hightown and leave us alone.
Not until you get a cool haircut like mine.
Yeah. You know, I might leave you alone, but
yeah,
get a haircut.
Haircuts first.
Where's Evelina?
Does Evelina live here? Why are you here?
This is our home as much as it is hers. Evelina shared everything she had with us. Evelina found us when the Darkspawn came, when our parents died. She made sure we got to Kirkwall safely.
Okay.
I miss her.
Where is she?
But when she went to join the Circle here, they called her apostate for leaving the tower in Ferelden. They locked her up.
Okay, well, I want to help her.
If you tell me where Evelina is, I'll try my best to help her. You can trust me.
No one can help her.
The Templars made Evelina angry. They made her change.
Uh-oh.
It wasn't her fault. When it was over, she was ashamed. She ran into the tunnels and hid.
Shut up, Cricket. Don't tell them that.
She's in the sewers, child.
You can't go there. She'll know we told you and she'll be angry at us.
Angry? I didn't like when she got angry. We have to hide.
Cricket!
Okay, so she's been taken over by a demon or whatever, and we're going to have to dispatch her. So that's what I was initially saying. I thought either all 3 cases or 2 of the 3 cases, right, would be pretty bad, and, like, this is supposed to be your moral dilemma that, like, you don't, like, Meredith, our blonde-haired, blue-eyed, you know, knight captain or knight guard is, like, mean, but she actually is right that, like, mages are dangerous. Oh! 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 Yeah, I mean, there's lots. I mean, these are demons. It's a rage demon there. So, I mean, that makes sense that she's turning into a demon when she's angry or whatever. She's been taken over by a rage demon. Oh! Cutscene.
What are you doing here?
I thought if we warned her about you, she wouldn't be angry. But then she...
Walter...
Uh-oh.
But then she got angry.
She's coming! Run!
She's coming.
There you are. Don't run from me, Walter. You know those are the rules.
Sort of twisting in camera angle to make her look creepy. I'll stop you.
I won't let you touch these children.
You play the hero well, but I see through it. You're Ferelden, like us. That you feast on sweetmeats while your people starve in the Undercity. I spit on you, traitor.
And on the pathetic Templars that sent you. Kirkwall should be mine.
Abomination.
Then my children will have a whole city to play in.
He's a Ferelden supremacist.
I don't understand. Evelina loved us. She saved us. Why would she try to hurt us
She
now?
was a spiteful mutant.
You're lucky you're alive, kid.
Just be glad I was there to save you.
She won't be the last. Both sides will do anything. And stuck in the middle.
I just don't know what we'll do now.
All right, here's some coin.
Take this and use it wisely.
Thank you, Miss Eyre. I should
Don't
go
spend
buy
it
some
on
food for
wenches at the
others.
bar.
Yeah.
They've been hungry for a long time.
Slot says to me and you, have you ever managed people? Best tips. Mostly my work has been technical, not managing people.
I don't have any real advice. I mean, I've done some jobs like that, but there's nothing in particular that comes to mind.
I've dealt with a lot of managers. I'll tell you, from my experience as a worker, it's always the bosses who are... If I perceive a boss as being very fair towards me and very kind, personally, that's when I find it the easiest to do my job. And what I mean by that is, like, not only is it, if I do my job, that's fine, but if I fail in my job in some way, I feel guilty. When you have a boss who's like a total jerk, and you kind of do your job halfway, it's just sort of like, I don't know, it doesn't bother me as much.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, why, like, yeah, I mean, when I fail, this person fails, and I don't feel guilty for them failing.
Mm-hmm, right. Because they're a jerk after all, right? So. Matriarch?
I'm led to believe that both Huon
But I think
and
it can get infinitely more complex than that, so, I mean...
Yeah.
Emil de Lancey, however, turned himself in. Rather happily, I might add. I would have had him executed immediately. But the boy's father made an impassioned appeal on his behalf. What say you, champion? Do you believe Emil to be dangerous?
No, I don't.
He was never a danger to anyone but himself.
Very well. Emil will keep his life, though I will watch him closely.
All right, well, glad I could help. I can say the Templars caused this. Okay, whatever.
Okay, all right, yeah, how did they do that?
Well, it was traitors within her midst that released them, right?
Yeah, I didn't remember that. I've turned my brain off too many times.
But then it's like putting it on her, like the Templars caused this. I'm just like, glad I could help.
I'm pleased to have played a part in keeping the city safe.
I bid you good day, champion.
But yeah, like I had predicted, I was saying that either two of the three or all three would be like bad mages. And it's supposed to be this game where it set you up to be very sympathetic to the mages. Like irrationally sympathetic towards the mages and like irrationally hateful of the Templars and hateful of the Chantry, this sort of Catholicism stand-in. But then it was going to hit you with this sort of like moral twist where like, well, you know, these mages for the most part weren't good. Ooh. Okay, let's take a look at my house. Gonna check it for letters.
Good day, Captain Evelina.
Well,
Captain?
Where am I? Where's my house again? Uh-oh. Is it over this way? Nume says it reminds, I think when I gave the kid a bunch of money, he says, that reminds me of a scene in Knights of the Old Republic 2, where you give a coin to a beggar and then he gets robbed and killed, with the moral that charity is not always beneficial.
Okay.
Where the hell's my house? Am I in the wrong area?
I mean, to me that sounds like some people can't have nice things because there are bad people.
Well, yeah, I think the moral would be if we had killed that guy who killed your guy before you gave your guy money, he'd still be fine. But I mean, oh, I thought he was yelling. Let's take a look at the writing desk. Expresses her gratitude. Please accept this token. Okay. A message from The Comte. Thank you for persuading Emil to do the right thing. Yep, no problem. Best served cold. Oh, okay, so we've dealt with Knight Commander Meredith, rounding up mages for her. Well, killing 2 of them. It took a great... This is from the first enchanter, the opposite of her. It took a great deal of courage the other day for you to speak openly against our Knight Commander. You have my support in my actions you take. I hope you have yours as well. There's a situation of the circle I was hoping you could assist with. Please meet me at the gallows. Okay. Go meet the first enchanter. So again, we've got a weird situation in this game where, you know, first it was all about the deep roads, and then now that's done, and then it was all about the Qunari, and I guess that's done, because now we're back to mages versus Templars.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's like, you know, it's very, very disjointed, and I'm looking at Control, and I'm looking at the synopsis, the setting, and the plot, and as wonky and crazy and weird as it is, like, it kind of makes more sense. Well, it has a flow to it that this game does not.
Yeah. Slot says, I'm currently developing a multiplayer game where your Mars-like rovers attempting to connect with a friend on the other side of the world. In between, the monsters are attempting to stop you. Oh, interesting. Nume says, in regards to that story about, you know, the beggar in Knights of the Old Republic, he says, the moral is about how you have to be mindful of your actions and their consequences, right? So you could, like, give someone something nice, but if that makes them a target for a murder, you know, these are the complexities of life that you need to be considering. Nume says, you wanted to be a good guy and help someone in need, but indirectly caused him harm. And I mean, you could sort of make the same statement about giving beggars money who are addicted to drugs, maybe. You know, if you know someone, if you give them someone $50 and you know they're all just, that's going to be $50 worth of meth or whatever. Maybe they'd be better off without it, I guess.
Thank you for coming, champion. Few will associate with me now that I am the focus of Meredith's ire, which leaves me in a difficult position. She is not entirely wrong. I know some
or you might be better off giving them the money so that they don't steal it and they stay out of jail.
But I cannot seek the Templars'
maybe jail would be better for him.
Every mage a target.
Sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't.
Yeah, I'd say it'd be nice if we had, if the
criminal justice system is not a supplement or a substitute for drug addiction rehabilitation.
Right,
it's just not.
Well, I mean, we used to have a situation in the United States where we had like insane asylums, and we had a lot more. We had like a separate system for dealing with a lot of psychological issues, and a lot of those people are actually in jails now. And it's not good.
It's not. The whole prison industrial complex system we have now is terrible. Like, I think it should be all nationalized, and I don't think any of it should be privatized. That's my 2 cents. I'm not trying to have a big conversation about it, but I think that's a huge problem at this point. I mean, like, commissary alone is just like, I mean, it's a whole industry and it's terrible.
I mean, I'm not the privatization of prisons is a separate issue from the fact that what was once a different system got rolled into prisons, right? We're now using the criminal justice system to deal with a lot of people who have mental problems.
Well, it's not necessarily like a separate issue because prison is for profit. They want to fill it up with as many different people as possible. I mean, you see, like there have been judges, like in Pennsylvania, for example, who have been. I mean, this is all over the country, but the particular instance I'm thinking about is in Pennsylvania, where a judge was convicted of having sent like hundreds, if not thousands, of minors unjustly to correctional facilities because he was getting kickbacks from the industry.
Mm-hmm.
And so, that is something that some black people do complain about. And I do think that in some instances, they legitimately have some grievances. But, you're not going to be too well off acknowledging that too much because they're not going to reciprocate any of the other stuff. So,
yeah. Well, I mean, it's you got that, but it's like when you have a public institution, let's say public prisons, there are other ways that public institutions, if they will compete for funds, like it while private prisons might have a very obvious corruption, public prisons corruption is, let's say, less obvious to the public. And yeah, I'm not necessarily against private prisons, totally.
Yeah, I'm totally against them. I mean, my understanding is that American prisons used to be like very highly efficient. Yeah, I mean, if you just look at like the amount of money that flows into prisons now, and you compare it to the amount of money that flowed into them before, I mean, it's a big contrast. And I'm not saying one's perfect. I'm not saying a public system is perfect, but I would take it over the private industry. You like immediately.
I'd say one of the biggest changes in our prisons has to do with demographics.
Sure.
You hear like one of the interesting things about.
Hold your thought. I want to make one quick stipulation. The kinds of things that people get erroneously thrown in jail for to fill up beds usually aren't the types of like violent crimes or crimes that are disproportionately perpetrated by particular sets of demographics. So people will usually highlight how the prison industrial complex is for profit at this point, and they'll try to use that as a scapegoat for why these minorities or why some of these different demographics are disproportionately put in there. And that's not why those groups are disproportionately put in there. I mean, it's you usually get my understanding is that the disproportionate amount of people who are unjustly put in jail having something to do with profit is usually more on the line of minor offenses.
Mm-hmm.
They're not armed robbery, they're not murder, they're not burglary.
You can't. It's very hard to like really send a lot of people away for murders they didn't do. I mean,
right.
Yeah. So, what I was saying is, so demographic change has really changed a lot of the prisons. So in California, you can look at interviews with old prisoners, and they'll actually tell you about how demographic change changed things. Back when prisons used to be fairly homogenous, a lot of white criminals. There was sort of a standard of behavior that the criminals pushed on each other, right? Sort of an honor among thieves, prison rules kind of deal. But as it became more multiracial, that's when it really became you had to join your racial gang, right? And it became gang rules rather than prison rules, right? So really, on some level, when you look at the gangs in prison, like the fact that a white gang really exists as a response to these other groups, right?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Josie says, "What should we do for homeless people?" Nume says, "Do as the Bible says. Don't hand out fish. Hand out fishing poles. Some people won't be able to learn to use. Some won't be able to learn to use them. Some won't be willing to. But it's better than paying people to be idle." So the homeless, and that term is really annoying. It's a politically correct term for bum or vagrant, right? If you call someone a bum or a vagrant, like if you were to tell a child like, "Oh, someone's a bum," that doesn't like immediately tell the child what that means, right? The child has to ask, "What is a bum?" Right? But the term homeless seems so self-explanatory. It's a person who's lacking a home. But that really leads people in the wrong direction intellectually. It actually leads people to believe the problem with the homeless, quote unquote the homeless, is that for the most part they don't have homes. When really, the problem for most homeless people is they're unable or unwilling to do what needs to be done to live sort of a normal life. And when I say do what needs to be done, I mean like pay rent or a mortgage or get a place, to get a job where they work stable hours, where they work with customers or other employees in a non-violent way. Like, so a lot of homeless people, that's what they're struggling with.
Historically, I would say that's the case, but I think over the past 20 years, that's increasingly not representative of I mean, you can go, I mean, especially in California, you can go to places where there are people who are fairly responsible and they live out of their cars. They work a job, they work a steady job. It just doesn't pay enough, and they are literally without. I mean, again, I think this is something that, like, I don't know a terrible amount about, but from what I do know, the demographics of homelessness have been changing over the years, and you're getting more and more people who, based on their current behavioral patterns, 10, 15 years ago would not be homeless, but are homeless now because of like where they're at. Like, I mean, you could make the case that they need to somehow pack up and move out of California and go somewhere else, and do some other type of job or whatever that'll make ends meet. But I don't know. There's a lot of compounding factors going into homelessness at this point. I think I don't think it's like it was. I mean, you could say what you just said, like back in the 50s or the 60s, because I mean, virtually, I mean, there were just, if you wanted a job, you could get a job, and chances are that job would pay more than enough for all of your basic necessities. That's quickly becoming not the case anymore.
I'd still say what you're talking about is a very small amount of people in the grand scheme.
It might be. It might
also,
be. I don't know the stats on this.
While some municipalities might say that if you've set up, a hot plate in your car, you especially see people fitting those vans, like those Sprinter vans and stuff for living in, that a municipality might call that homeless. I don't call that homeless, right? I mean, that person who has retrofitted their van to be a house, it's got locking doors, they live in it, that's not homeless like in a tent, or like, if you remember that one guy, the Antifa down in Texas, they burned his mattress, he's just living on the street, sleeping on a mattress, dirty mattress.
Well, I mean, again, these are all things you'd have to sit down and really define your terms and make all of your terms like very overt. Like, this is what we mean by this. This is what we mean by that.
Right. And this is why the term homeless is very unhelpful, because it actually
I would agree
creates it around this like artificial. It makes the problem seem different than it is.
Yeah, but I guess what I do want to say definitively is that there are a lot of like technology-related people who worked in technology-related fields who 10 years ago had a decent amount of savings, had a decent job, they had a decent place to live and all of that, and now because of H-1B1 visas and all of that other stuff and everything else that's going on, like, they're pretty much screwed, and you can make the case, they don't have the ability to readjust or whatever, but it's just like, something needs to be done about that. I still see like my fellow Americans suffering in ways that I feel like are unjust, and other people coming in and capitalizing off of that. So,
all right. So this guy's saying that there are mages opposing the Templars using dangerous means. So I think this seems to be like this is the reformer. He like doesn't like the way things are, and he believes in reformation, and he's opposing the revolutionaries, right? So both the reformer and the revolutionary are opposed to the establishment, but the reformer and the revolutionary are opposed to each other. See what I'm saying? So I'll ask, dangerous means?
What are they doing?
All I know
is numerous mages have left the circle at night, sometimes for days at a time. I'd rather not follow our Knight Commander by leaping to the worst possible conclusion. But the idea of blood magic has crossed my mind.
So how can I help?
You need some assistance against traitors in your ranks.
Traitors? Perhaps. Rebels? Certainly.
Mm.
I don't know if they seek congress with demons or merely a walk in the moonlight.
Walking's not so bad. Even mages need exercise.
All I know is that a meeting is happening tonight in Hightown. I would go myself, but should I leave the tower without permission, Meredith would call it proof of my involvement.
All right, I'll look into it.
I'll see what they're up to. There's no point in involving the Templars.
Thank you. Your support has been a lifeline for me. Just learn the nature of this meeting. You needn't interrupt unless you find proof of something sinister. I pray not. Or Meredith will have what she needs to justify the rite of annulment.
All right. Nume says, what makes people still live in California? The weather? The weather's pretty damn nice. I mean, I won't lie. It's like ridiculously nice. I went out to the San Francisco Bay, and by the the third week I was there. So for like 20 days, you know, you'd have in the San Francisco area, it'd be a little bit foggy in the morning, then it would all burn off, and it would be sunny all day and nice all day, and it was like that for 3 weeks. I felt like I was inside a mall, right? It's like a climate-controlled area. The weather in California is stupid nice. Ridiculously nice. Lots of sun, good for growing. So, you know, you got lots of farming out in California. A lot of very good farm and efficient farming. Even with many of those areas getting somewhat low rainfall, even with all the high taxes, it's still very productive. You know, so it's like one of these situations where, you know, the Wyoming government can only abuse you for taxes so much before you just can't do anything, right? Because it's a high altitude desert. California, a little bit, can be a little bit more abusive of their people before they drive them out. Obviously, people have been leaving in droves, though.
Coming. The champion. We know you're spying for Orsino. Run. We'll handle this.
Oh, so here we have mages and Templars, and they're dead. Nope, oh, oh, more. All right, is that it? Oh, nope, there's more. What's this?
Yeah, my
Secret
general
hallway.
experience in San Francisco, I would say, and this is just anecdotal experience, like I don't know what the actual stats are, but I would say most of the homeless they have there are not what I was referring to prior. It was more of what you were referring to, people with mental ailments or an inability to do what needs to be done to maintain some kind of stable lifestyle.
Uh-oh. Did I break it? Maybe I'll go in and out of this house. Uh-oh. SpaghettiOs. Load. I do know that we've been real lucky so far. I've just been spamming my macro and killing everything. But I think oh. Let's do this. I think maybe something broke by me using the macro to auto-kill everything.
Probably do it once here and then not do it out when they come out of the doorway.
Yeah. Let's just use all these abilities. Oh my god. My character's getting his ass kicked. What's this? Ooh. I just want to do it regular this time. That way we don't have to do it again. God, the last Freeman. Alright, what do we got here? Stamina, health potion. I only got one type of health potion, huh? And it's on cooldown? I'm gonna run! Woo. I'll drag these guys away. Also, you need to drink a health potion. Now this guy needs to drink a health potion. Boom. Oh, there goes Varric. Let's go you.
Yeah, because one thing, you know, I remember getting into that argument with David Cole on Twitter about the Los Angeles police force and its demographic makeup, and I remember looking up the stats and seeing that Los Angeles County has like 50% Hispanic cops, and I was thinking about what that potentially would mean is, you know, more and more, if it's like anything like it is in Latin America, various job fields. Like, for example, if you want to get a job being a taxi driver down here, you have to know somebody in the business. You cannot just walk up and apply to be a taxi driver and expect it's for somebody to read your resume and give you a taxi job.
Mm-hmm.
More and more, I would expect California to be like that, with a lot of low-end jobs or a lot of jobs fields where ethnic minorities or non-white groups have kind of gotten a foothold. And as that happens more and more, I would expect that to even happen, even to some extent, within some white groups. Because as jobs become more and more scarce, more and more people are going to kind of engage in nepotistic networking of some sort, of one sort or another. And, you know, if you, for whatever reason, get locked out of a network, you're locked out of a network, and that's that.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's a big dynamic going on in California. And again, I can't stress that enough. Like, down in Latin America, like, you know, it's typically not the type of place that you just walk up, fill out an application, and you get a job. It's not like it was. You know, I know a lot of us grew up in the 70s and the 80s. And even in the 90s, I think you could do that to a certain extent. And it's just like, it's really, really a lot about networking today.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, as you invite nepotistic people in your society, like, it's sort of like an arms race. If you don't start to become more nepotistic too, you'll lose out.
Right. Sean Lasttown, I think he had a good paper on, or he cited a good paper on how the more culturally and genetically distant the outgroup is coming in, the more nepotistic they tend to behave. You know, hence why you see, like, for example, I believe that in the U.S. Army, the Filipinos have like this pretty good foothold within the logistics sector. You know, and the Asians in general, like, I mean, Koreans with corner stores in California, that kind of industry, they have a good foothold within that. So, you know, you can just, you know, and then as more and more Indian Brahmins come into the tech industry, I mean, you know, one of them gets a hold of the human resources department or whatever. I mean,
yeah.
Well, then you're going to start seeing some guys who have been working in the tech industry for 10, 15 years suddenly out of a job for whatever reason, and then they go to try to get another job somewhere else, and they find themselves with this entire set of skills that are basically useless because they're not part of a network anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, and this just really highlights how important it is that we start to have our own white American networks.
So we got a torn note here. Torn note found in this conspirator's pocket. ... Will not tell you again. It's not safe to bring any new recruits to our meetings. Meredith has eyes everywhere. Bring anyone who claims to be against her Gabraldi's warehouse. Against her to Gabraldi's warehouse at night. We must ensure their loyalty, lest Meredith discover us before we're ready to confront her.
Another secret society meeting in a warehouse. Do you think the owners charge them rent?
All right.
Do you mind if I address something in the chat? I don't want to talk too much over your stream, so.
1 second here. So Dozy says Americans have poor transportation in rural areas. You're pretty much stuck in the cities if you can't drive, like some of my relatives. Well,
That's what I wanted to address.
Okay, go ahead.
Well, no, I mean, if you had something to say first, I'm interested to hear that. But I just wanted to say I had my own take on that. But
I mean, I'd say that's why more and more we need to make cohesive communities, right?
yeah,
You know, if you can't drive, but you've made real good friends and you have lots of family and we make lots of babies, all of a sudden it's not actually that hard to get around. You know, you always got some nephew who, you know, nephew's going to town. You need to go to town. Nephew got to take you. That's how it goes. Your family.
Yeah.
I mentioned that I hate this part of town.
That's what I'd say.
yeah, I agree. I mean, I think the bad thing to offer up, and a lot of people are tempted to do this. They're like, "Oh, China, high-speed rail," and it's like, no, because basically all I think of is how various metro systems extended outward from a metropolitan area, such like Detroit or whatever. That they destroy all the little white suburbs and communities and whatnot. They're basically like little black Viking vessels that allow people to come in and steal, loot, whatever, get back on the metro, the light rail, or whatever, or in this case, a high-speed rail. I mean, imagine there's a high-speed rail that goes from Chicago to New York. I mean, like you could, you
don't want your city anywhere near that route. That's for sure.
Right. So I'm more in line with what you had just said. Like, which isn't easy to do right off the bat, but. I mean, that's the tragedy. I mean, we had all of that. Now it's gone. I grew up going to local hardware stores. I didn't have Home Depot.
I told you he was after us.
No, not him. I can't do this.
I knew, I knew people who ran all the stores, or I was related to them.
To arms!
Mm-hmm.
Be careful!
You will fall!
Got him! What's this? I don't need that. Insignia, the first enchanter. Take a look at my health, my stuff here. I'll probably get rid of some stuff. Destroy that. Destroy that. Get rid of that.
Slots is saying, how does Sean argue diversity doesn't affect social trust? I don't know that. I've never heard Sean argue that
there are certain papers that when they've controlled for other factors, some of the... So, like, you'll have a situation where it appears that diversity eroded social trust, and then you'll control for enough factors that aren't diversity, and then it goes away. That's basically what the situation is with some of those papers.
I told them not to do it. I swear. If I knew you were the one they were talking about, I'd have warned you. I don't hold with kidnapping. Not after what I went through.
Karen?
Didn't I save your life?
You did. Believe me. I still dream about those blood mages. I don't know where I'd be without you. I'd never have let them kidnap anyone I knew was one of yours.
One of mine.
What are you talking about?
They said someone was spying. We needed leverage. Someone they cared about. As a hostage. We just got word they pulled it off. Right before you came here.
Just tell me where they went. I can't waste any time.
They left for the ruins on the Wounded Coast. We have a kind of base there. They should have just talked to you. I know you're a reasonable person. You have to see how dangerous Meredith is. Thrask says Meredith will cause open war with the mages if she stays in charge. We have to take her down.
It's interesting.
Is Thrask the one running
Trying to
this
get you to
conspiracy?
go after the woman?
He's the one who brought us together.
For 6 years, he's been working, one mage, one Templar at a time, teaching us we don't have to hate each other.
Teaching us.
He showed us Meredith isn't the only way.
Right, you don't have to hate each other. That's true, but you do. You're a Templar, and your job is to make sure that mages aren't a danger to society. All right, why are you here?
I thought you'd be the last person to join a conspiracy of apostate mages.
They aren't apostates. They want the circle. They want it to work like it's supposed to protect them. The mages aren't the problem. Meredith is. The Knight Commander needs to go. That's what Thrask says. Without her, we have a chance at peace. What are you going to do to Thrask? To me?
Okay, well, this is so weird, and you're not really offered a lot of options. So, I can say to him, get out of here. I can say I'm turning you in, or I can kill him. So, I'm going to turn him in. I think, yeah? Okay, I'm turning him in.
I'm not getting involved in this. Let the Templars decide what to do with you.
No, please. If Meredith learns about this, she'll kill us. She'll kill every mage, even if they weren't involved. Go to the ruin. Talk to Thrask. Maybe he can convince you we're in the right.
Maybe I'll kill
Meredith
Thrask.
should hear about this.
I'll go back to Masha's. Please, don't tell Meredith about me. It would kill Masha if I got in trouble.
I like how the game kind of, unless I'm mistaken, they just made a decision for you.
Right.
You
I said I was going to turn him in, and now I can't turn him in.
Yeah, and now you can't turn him in.
He just walked
It's
away.
like, no, we don't really want you to do that. We
Yeah.
really don't want you to do that. No, you got to do this instead.
Instead of walking out with him, holding his wrist or having him in irons.
I mean, you would think that would kind of like be like a blight on the male gamer ego, but just like no, you're not taking me. I'm leaving.
Yeah.
Slot says, how does Sean argue diversity doesn't affect social trust, but reads these papers about increased nepotistic behavior? WTF? He argues economic status is what affects social trust and not diversity. I just wanted to come back to that and say, I don't know if Sean Last says any one of those things like absolutely 100% definitively. Sean Last is a guy who really crunches a lot of different numbers and a lot of different factors and takes into account a lot of different things. And I don't always agree with everything that he says, but I don't know if I would feel comfortable reducing. I don't know if I would feel comfortable reducing his opinion to that. Like, I don't know if Sean Last really thinks that diversity doesn't affect social trust, and instead it's all socioeconomic status.
Well, and something I wonder is like, how connected are those two? Not just in terms of like, oh, different groups have different results or whatever, but also like, let's listen to this real quick.
Resource competition.
You've been sticking your nose in every problem in Kirkwall since you stumbled off the boat.
Well, one of the things I was saying is that as the United States has changed demographically, back when the United States was more homogenous, one of the cultural norms was it was more significantly penalized for you to flaunt your wealth. It was unseemly.
Mm-hmm.
And this we used to view the flaunting of wealth as fairly unseemly. You might see two houses that look somewhat similar that are near each other, but the families in both might have two very different incomes historically. And as we've changed demographically, that's gone away. Now, how much has that demographic change fed into that change? I can't tell you exactly. I mean, it maybe we would have changed this way even without the demographic change. But I suspect there could be an interplay where as you've invited these outsider groups and signaling became more important and there was less philia, less sort of brotherhood in your society, that sort of you signaling wealth and the connotations of it being unseemly have sort of faded, partly because of that.
That's a really good point, but I would say additionally, like groups like East Asians and whites or Europeans can kind of get along within the same neighborhood if everybody has a good job and everybody is financially stable and all that, and there aren't any sort of like resource management issues. Groups can get along, and then as soon as there's some kind of resource competition that crops up, I mean, this is why I should sit down and read those papers at some point. I mean, I wonder if they're like some kind of, if they're representative of some cul-de-sac neighborhood that has 5 Asians, 5 Europeans, 5 blacks, 5 whatever, and they all make $500,000 a year or whatever, and in that community, and they all work in completely different fields. Like, is that what the paper is representative of, or because I would be very, very surprised if a paper supported the idea that even under any kind of once resource competition became a thing, that diversity would not have an adverse effect on social trust. I just do not see that as being plausible. I'd have to see a paper that really, I'd have to see a really convincing paper.
Well, and it's also interesting, you got the, things have changed over the years. Not only has flying your wealth become more, less unseemly, and, if you watch even Family Guy, they'll make all sorts of jokes about certain ethnic groups that really like to flaunt their wealth.
Yeah.
The other flip side of flaunting your wealth is, I think, demeaning those making less. And you hear white trash used a lot more by whites who are anti-white, right? White trash. So how much of it is potentially that, on some level, this change in perspective could be related to demographic change. And now, when you look at the data and you control for that, you're still ultimately stuck looking at these people who maybe value this socioeconomic differences highly, but if the demographics weren't there, they wouldn't, right? So it's not that they care about the demographics, they care about the socioeconomics, but they wouldn't if it was homogenous to some degree.
Yeah, I mean, this is basically what I'm saying. It's like there are a lot of things that can go into this, and again, that's the type of guy Sean Last really is. He doesn't he examines a bunch of different contributing factors, and a lot of our people don't really want to get into the nitty-gritty of that, because initially, upon your exploration of a particular field, it might seemingly at first debunk something you previously believed, until you unpack it a little bit more and you branch out into how that works. So
who are you again?
Samson. I'm the one who fouled up your lad Fainriel's escape some years ago. Further back, I was a Templar, but that was before your time.
Are the mages here using blood magic?
It always comes down to that, don't it? They claim innocence, demand equality, but back them into a corner, and they got options we don't. Haven't found a mage yet who won't take it.
So blood mages aren't really perpetrators engaging in blood magic. They're backed into a corner by evil society. It's everyone else's fault that these mages are raising corpses. Uh-huh.
I'm looking for Thrask.
You don't sound happy. Last I heard, you two were close. So were we once. Of course, that was before Meredith kicked me out of the Templars. Thrask knew she was a bitch then, but he still thought he could change things from the inside. I hoped he would.
Plot says, can you imagine if we had an organization for white people that was approved as a charity and you donated that to avoid taxes? Well, I mean,
not gonna happen.
I mean, don't we have something? Aren't some of the things charities? Let me see here. But let's see.
Secret nighttime meetings and grandiose conspiracies aren't going to win this.
Truth. This whole thing's done wrong. Mages are raising the bloody dead, and Thrask just looks the other way. I'm too much Templar still to swallow that. I'd hoped with Meredith gone I could take up the shield again. But maybe she was right. Give them a hint of freedom, mages go bad.
Yeah, we should have charities. I was trying to think of something we had.
Yeah, yeah, we should, but I'm saying, like, you can't make it explicitly white, and even if it becomes noticeably implicitly white, people are going to attack it.
I think you could make it implicit. I think we could try and make it explicitly white.
I mean, this is where I think the way we're going to have to be able to get around this is some kind of like cryptocurrency-based organization of some sort. I mean, like it's, you know, and even then, it's going to be like, I mean, I don't know how to do it really. I don't know how to do it at this point. Like someone else much smarter than me is going to have to figure it out.
Well, these mages must be stopped.
Every mage seems willing to use blood magic in the name of freedom.
Oh,
they
God.
can't be trusted.
This is so weird.
Every mage?
Oh.
Much as I hate it, I think you're right. And Meredith's lost more people to this movement than she knows. She needs men she can trust. If you go after Thrask, I'll gather the Templars I know who are still loyal. Maybe I can earn my shield back after all.
Meryl rivalry. Yeah, she's not happy with me for saying that. You know, it's one of these situations where, you know, my dialogue options are either to help these mages overthrow Meredith, whatever her name is, or to stop these mages from overthrowing Meredith. So if I say, I want to stop these mages, my character says, all mages are bad, and we gotta kill them. You know, it's like, all right, thanks, game. You're really great.
Yeah, very, very, very impartial.
All right, time to die.
I suppose it was too much to hope that you wouldn't have come here. Though I cannot understand why you support Meredith still. It was not the Circle that kept Fainreal safe from demons. It was you. Please, champion. I have nothing but respect for you. It's Meredith we must see gone.
Release your hostage.
I will not negotiate while my friend lies drugged on the floor.
We will release him the moment I have your word that you will support us.
No. The elf dies. Then the champion.
Stand down, Grace.
Grace? Wasn't she one of the mages you turned in almost 6 years ago?
We will not kill an innocent to achieve our ends. It gains us nothing to become Meredith.
Meredith. What do I care for Meredith? I'm here for the champion.
So I can say, hey, we can work this out. I can say meanly, don't mess with me. Or I can say, I knew I should have killed you, jokingly. Seems like I should have killed her. I'm gonna say, don't mess with me. Don't mess with me.
You hurt my friend. You die.
I would rather die 100 times than endure one more hour in this circle. I have been counting the days to get my revenge. Elaine, kill the hostage.
I don't know, Grace.
Well, and this is one of the situations where it's like, the Templar that I spoke to, Karen, he's like, oh, well, you know, it's not that they just want the circle to work how it's supposed to. But these are mages that I've captured before. They don't want the circle to work how it's supposed to. They want the circle destroyed. They want weak Templars like Karen who aren't willing to do what needs to be done so that they can break free of their holds and engage in all sorts of nonsense. All right. So I can say, why are you doing this, Elaine? I can say, Elaine, you're not reformed. I can say, we're past talking and attack. And I'm tempted to just attack. I mean, what we have here is a combination of maybe some mages who want to reform, who want the circle to change, but who believe in the circle. We have mages who genuinely don't like the circle and want it destroyed. We have Templars who might be sympathetic to the good mages. And then we also have Templars who are just too weak to understand and fight back against those who want the circle destroyed. So they're bad Templars. I think
it kind of sounds somewhat like mechanically wise, like Brett Weinstein's anti-white alliance that's going to break up.
I think it's time to cleanse the beach.
You're dead. All of you.
No. No one has to die here.
Oh, but that's where you're wrong.
Restrain yourself.
What?
She's a blood mage. Using her own blood to do mage things. There she is, beating that guy up.
The hostage. Kill the champion.
Look at my big hammer. All right. All these mages. Oh, Pride Abomination. Yeah. Look at that. We'll use a couple cool moves. There goes the Abomination. Who's this? Templar Hunter. All right. There's that.
Varric, no time to lay around, you old con.
And there's that, because of course we still have more.
I tried to stay away from her, you know, after Decimus. But the circle here is worse than Starkhaven ever was. It seemed like hers was the only way out. I'm sorry. Grace used blood magic to hold him. There's no other way to wake him up.
Well, you didn't have to do it. I mean, I don't like the character that much. You could have just left him here.
I should not have let them take me. I let you down.
I have avenged this crime.
These bastards won't be bothering you anymore.
Thank you for releasing me. I am grateful.
No problem, dude.
I got here as soon as I... Oh. Champion, Samson never said you were involved in this.
Involved? I did the whole thing.
To stop these traitors, not join them.
The champion's a good man, sir. He tried to solve things peacefully.
Yeah. Put the mage to questioning.
Don't hurt him.
The boy stood up to his elders when they would have killed an innocent hostage.
You mean he was one of them, save for a convenient last-minute change of heart?
Yeah, to some degree.
Encourage Meredith to take it easy on him.
Thank you, champion.
Everyone else here is under arrest. Take them to the gallows. Is there any recommendation you would have me bring to Meredith, champion?
Who's Samson? So I can say be merciful. I can say give Samson another chance. I don't remember who Samson is. Oh, that's the guy who got removed. Or I can say kill them all, but it has the symbol for starting a fight. Like, I can kill all these Templars now. I think. I don't know why I'd kill all the Templars too. I'd say be merciful.
If you killed every man who doubted Meredith's fitness, Kirkwall would be a ghost town.
You think that reason enough to spare blood mages and their willing dupes? Perhaps some of them might still be saved.
Well, that was nice, I guess. That was a
I mean, this is such a weird plot. Like, this game just feels like it should have ended hours ago.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know where it's going. Like, where is it going?
Slot says he likes how the character just stands there with an empty expression and blood on his face. Well, that's been one of the major draws since the first game. You know, you just enter dialogue after a fight and your character's just got blood everywhere, and it's just like, you know, oh, did you want some tea, darling? Well, in regards to, so you got the notion of a charity, right? I think that's pretty good. Personally, what I'd do if I had the money, time, maybe a little bit of help, is I'd be interested in forming a fraternal organization. So fraternal organizations in the United States, one of the ways to meet the requirements of fraternal organization is to form it based off of blood. It's to form it based off of shared heritage of members, right? That's how fraternities to some degree work. Or you can form them based off of shared occupation or something. But that's what I think, and they can be charities, or they can have charitable arms.
Sure, but once anybody with any amount of real power gets wind or gets the idea in their head that your organization is implicitly pro-white, they're going to come after you. And at this point, I don't know what mechanisms there are in place to impede that.
Your Templar group was conspiring to overthrow Meredith.
I have a sudden deep regret I interfered. You know, I was half convinced Meredith had engineered the whole thing to trick me into incriminating myself.
So, well, I mean, it's like, well, one of the nice things about a fraternal organization is it really cements ties of brotherhood amongst its members, which makes a resilient organization and a resilient people, which is what we need, right?
Sure. But how does that stop the federal government from declaring you a white nationalist terrorist organization and having the FBI come in and seize all your assets and liquidating everything?
Well, I think that's certainly a risk. And to mitigate that risk, you really don't have assets in the thing, right? You might have cash flow through the organization, but you don't stockpile anything, right? You don't invest in large, fraternal halls. You keep it meager, and most of the money that comes into the fraternity flows back out to the members, right? Into their homes, into their businesses, such that a total asset seize would not affect anyone
minimal.
because it's not much exists within the organization.
Yeah. Kind of like
Flask admitted to leading the group.
Perhaps I've exaggerated the depths of her madness. But if she's not there yet, she will be soon. The only question is, once it's clear she cannot lead, will there be anyone left to oppose her? Please accept this as my thanks. It will be of more value to you right now than my friendship.
Oh, more valuable than what? Okay. All right, so we're done for today. We got this plot point. It says the mages are close to rebellion. Though Thrask is dead and his conspiracy stopped, the situation remains tense. Look for letters from both Meredith and Orsino. The champion will likely be called to defend Kirkwall once more. That's what we'll be doing next week. Is defending Kirkwall from this madness. This very weird story. It's interesting, I guess.
It's goofy. It's like somebody had an idea. It's like 20 people had 20 different ideas for 20 different stories, and they all just like smashed them together, and they're like, here we go. This is chronologically, this is Dragon Age 2.
Yeah.
It's this series of all these different things.
Yeah, it's like, that is interesting. Normally you have a big sort of build up, a climax at the end of the game, closure, and instead we're getting that multiple times in this game. So it is sort of like, they wanted to do a few different things, and they're like, okay, well, let's just do them all in a row. Let's make 4 mini games.
I don't necessarily think a good game or a good story necessarily has to have like this grand climactic event or whatever, but I don't think anybody got into Dragon Age 2 thinking that this was what they were going to get. And it's almost like more suited to I don't know, like a Stardew Valley type of thing, or a Sims game or something. You know what I mean? Like, it's just like you just kind of run around doing these various things, and they're like, I don't know. I just remember playing this game for the first time and really expecting there to be some kind of straightforward, overarching narrative that would unfold, and just after a certain point, it was entirely clear that was never going to happen.
Yeah. All right. Well, we were playing Detroit become human tomorrow?
Yep, and I think that'll be the last session. So.
Okay. So check out Krogan's stream tomorrow, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's the exact same time as this stream.
And that'll be on Odyssey.
On Odyssey. Odyssey only.
Right.
No more D-Live, no more Trovo for Krogan.
Right. So I'll post the link on social media tomorrow, and I'm sure if Embargo sees it, he'll reshare it. If not, go to
AK live streams.
Go to AK live streams Odyssey, and you'll be able to see it there.
All right. Well, everyone, have a good day. See you later. Peace.